Lord Akatosh lends you his might when your own strength fails you. Trust in the Nine. Hey, what's going on, dudes? My name is MrRhexx and we're back with some more Elder Scrolls Skyrim. On the last episode, we had an interesting conversation about all the divines. Okay, I lied. Not all of them. I was mostly mentioning the divines as far as Saint Alicia had them kind of organized. Not as much. Of course, there's a lot of different deities. There are the ancient Nordic pantheon, there's the Nordic pantheon, there's the Aldmeri pantheon, there's the Bosmer pantheon, the Redguard pantheon, and even the Khajiit have their own pantheon. So you guys were pretty quickly to, start mentioning, Rex, you forgot Talos. Rex, what happened? You know what I mean? Okay, we're gonna get to all of those, guys. Don't worry. We have a lot of time. There's a lot of game to go on. We're still only on the first main campaign quest line, which you guys voted on, the Dark Brotherhood. So there's still a lot of game to go. So I wouldn't worry. I wouldn't hurry. There's still time to go through all of it, and we will, trust me. For this episode, however, we will talk about Akatosh. I kind of excluded him yesterday because I knew that he's kind of like the biggest one, I guess. So I wanted to just focus on him for this video, which that's what we're gonna do. Now, Akatosh is obviously, we all know him as the kind of the chieftain of the imperial pantheon, but he happens to actually be the chieftain of every single pantheon he is in, surprisingly so. In fact, it is said that he and Lorcan are the two deities who happen to be in every single pantheon. Of course, we know that Lorcan is not necessarily a divine, but outside of Saint Alicia, he is in literally every pantheon, which is important when you're talking about how every single race came into existence, and you talk about who they believed in back then when gods actually walked in the earth. It is important to kind of categorize them in that way and see who they actually believe in. And the fact that they all believe in Lorcan and Akatosh, I think it's pretty safe to assume these guys are kind of a big deal, and of course real. Now let's do this first, and we'll continue this conversation.
Dear brother, I've been waiting for you. Your next contract awaits, as I'm sure Astrid indicated. With the Emperor's arrival in Skyrim now a certainty, his security service, the Penitus Oculatus, will need to begin its preparations immediately. Security is being handled by a Commander Morrow. Astrid and I have devised a plan to break the man, and in doing so, cripple the Emperor's protection. You are to slay the Commander's son, Gaius Morrow, and once he is dead, plant false evidence on his body, implicating him in a plot to kill the Emperor. He is set to leave the Penitus Oculatus outpost at Dragonbridge and inspect the security of each city in Skyrim. Go there now, observe Gaius Morrow's departure and follow him. Waylay him in one of the cities and send his soul to Sithis. Once he's dead, plant the incriminating letter on his body and let fate take care of the rest. Oh, and one final thing. To earn your bonus, do not kill Gaius Morrow in Dragonbridge or on the road. Kill him in one of the other major cities he'll be visiting. There, the body will be discovered quickly, as will the letter implicating Gaius Morrow in the plot to assassinate the Emperor. Do that, and Astrid has authorized me to grant you a rather unique bonus. It is a special token to be given to Olava the Feeble in Whiterun. Olava is an old and dear friend, and a powerful seer. The token entitles you to a reading of your future. It's an opportunity one should not pass up.
Cool. So the actual token and Olava will allow you a new quest, a quest that, if I remember correctly, will yield a better version of the Dark Brotherhood armor. So like I think I have a few copies here so you guys see. Yeah, so the Shrouded Cowl and the Shrouded Hands or whatever, like it gives you the ancient version of this set. So the Ancient Shrouded Cowl of Madness, the Ancient hand reps, blah, 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 etc., etc. You guys get the gist. It's a better version. It has enhanced stats. So if you're going for the whole light armor sort of build, I would definitely suggest doing it. We're obviously not going that route, but I will attempt to do the quest anyways, just for the sake of, you know, completeness in this playthrough. So we gotta go to the Dragon Bridge. The Dragon Bridge, we do not actually possess the fast travel to, so we will walk, but that's fine because we can talk. So Akatosh, you guys wanted me to kind of touch a little bit on the actual inception of the world, how everything kind of came to be, and I will have a dedicated episode for that, but obviously since we're talking about Akatosh, and Akatosh has kind of an important, he's an important part, an integral section of that story, so I guess we will touch a little bit on that, but let's begin, I guess, in the very beginning. And this is a little bit complicated because you see the Aedras and the Daedras back then, before Nirn was created, before they were even a physical manifestation, they existed, but again, they didn't really exist. And it's very tricky to kind of imagine this scenario, and I like to imagine it as the universe kind of being like a brain, right? If the universe is like a brain, then the Aedas, before they obtained a physical body, were like thoughts or feelings. Like, they existed, and they were there, and they kind of understood themselves, like they had that kind of self-understanding of who they were, but they didn't really have any physical manifestations. They didn't really, you couldn't see them, you couldn't breathe them, they couldn't feel. Like, it's kind of an interesting existence, and it's very, very difficult to kind of understand, if that makes any sense. By the way, someone mentioned on the last video that you want me to, I guess, change weapons a little bit more, try different stuff other than just being kind of this blade master sort of character, and I will try that. I will start summoning some more creatures on the next episode, because I gotta update my conjuration spells. I haven't done that in a while, and the ones that I currently possess are kind of garbage. But I just wanted to say that just in case some of you are wondering. Yes, I will do some conjuration later. Now, Akatosh was the very first Aedra. Aedra, by the way, means original spirits. Is it the right translation, I believe? I imagine it would be elvish, but honestly, I don't know. But Akatosh was the first Aedra who actually transformed from this kind of floating thought, floating feeling sort of embodiment to an actual physical form. And I think I'm going the wrong way. I need to get up there. He was the very first one that did it, and by doing so, he created the concept of time. We don't know exactly if he, like, literally created time, or if time was created because he became into existence. We don't know exactly. I mean, to be honest, I don't understand the concept of time in real life, so, you know, forgive me for not really understanding it in a game. It's kind of a hard concept to grasp, I guess, but he created time. And by doing so, he kind of helped all the other Aedra manifest themselves, which is one of the biggest reasons why he's considered to be kind of like the most badass and the most powerful out of all of the divines. Whereas, you know, whether that was actually true before Nirn was created is debatable. Of course, a lot of people will think that Magnus was probably one of the most powerful Aedras out there. And honestly, legitimately speaking, he might straight up be. Who knows? We don't really get told that, but alas, that's the original kind of inception story of Akatosh. It'll be kind of simple. It's kind of important.
Father, you worry too much. I'll be fine.
I know you will, but all the same, remember everything I said. Stay alert, and when you get to the cities, make your observations and move on.
I understand, but you're being paranoid. I'm inspecting security, not charging off into battle. There's not a lot that can go wrong.
Son, when the Emperor's safety is concerned, anything could go wrong. Off with you now, and good travels.
Farewell, Father. I'll return as soon as I'm able.
Well, this is it then. Look after yourself, Gaius. You're doing your duty, and I'm proud of you, but you better come back to me. You hear?
Oh, Fida. I may travel alone, but you know I carry you always in my heart. I'll see you soon.
There we go. So he wouldn't actually move or visit any of the cities until you finish that conversation, so obviously we gotta do that anyways. I'm gonna wait a little bit. I'm gonna try and kill him in one of the capital cities, of course, to get the bonus, so because of that I wanna wait. It's important to steal
Right behind you. As you wish, my thing.
his schedule. Actually, I am pretty sure that he won't actually ever get to a city unless you steal the schedule. I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure you have to steal it. Now, we are kind of fat because of our armor, so let me just go ahead and use one of the shrouded stuff. So I have a yeah, sneaking is better, and where is muffled? I'm hoping that actually works. Let's actually wait until nightfall. But yeah, Akatosh. So the most interesting part of Akatosh, in my opinion, is the fact that we don't even know who is Okay, we know who Akatosh is, but we don't know how many of the other deities are actually Akatosh, if that makes any sense. Now, a lot of people, including a lot of the actual NPCs in the game, believe that Auri-El and Akatosh are the same person. Some even go so far as to believe that Akatosh and Alduin are the same. Of course, we know better, but that's my point, right? A lot of NPCs don't quite really know what's going on, which makes everything a lot harder, especially if you kind of rely on the books. You are to adhere to the following schedule, so here we go. Monday, Solitude, then the castle, there you go, Freda's markers, blah, blah, blah. We actually got to see what... Oh, I didn't pick it up. And I stole a coin. Alright, cool. So today is what? It is Tirdas. Tirdas would be Tuesday. So we got to wait until Friday to go to Markarth, if I remember correctly. I hate this part, man. This is going to be a nightmare. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this, but... Oh, actually, Tirdas is Windhelm, so let's go to Windhelm. By the time I reach there, it's probably going to be something else. So, and this is my problem with Auri-El and Akatosh. See, Akatosh is seen as this spirit who is it already? It's okay, still Tirda, so he must be here somewhere. We'll probably wait a little bit. Akatosh is seen as this spirit of neutrality, right? Like, Akatosh, he's the champion, he's the chief. Like, he's a guy that loves everybody, right? Like, I don't know how you guys envision Akatosh, but I picture him just kind of being this neutral entity who, you know, it doesn't matter if you're an elf, it doesn't matter if you're an Argonian or a man, like, he will protect you either way, right? My problem is that Auri-El is not like that. In fact, Auri-El actually fought the humans. Like, that was the very first thing he did. Back in the Merethic era, the guy literally formed an army of elves to fight the humans. And the humans were being governed at the time by Lorcan. So, indeed, he wanted to fight Lorcan. But it's so different from how the stories tell who this entity was on both sides, the elvish side and the human side, to the point where, like, it's kind of hard to imagine them being the same person, right? Because no one really says that Akatosh is an elf, but Auri-El was very obviously an elf. Like, he for all intents and purposes, he was like an elvish demigod. And he lived with the elves and everything. Like, it's kind of hard to grasp, and I'm not sure exactly which way to kind of lean on that. And obviously the stories, the books, the lore, they don't really tell you much as far as, like, what is real, what is not real, what is true and what is not. So it can be a little bit tricky. Now, we are to assume that they are the same person because the game wants us to assume, so I guess we will go ahead and do that. Of course, we know that Alduin is not Akatosh, but it is indeed still, though, very interesting to me that they believe that it was the same thing.
Straight answer. He's a true Nord. He'll come around.
I'm not sure where to look for this guy. Okay, let me actually clarify a little bit. So the Nords don't believe Alduin and Akatosh are the same person. They very much understand who Alduin is. They know who Akatosh is. Some people outside of the Nords, however, believe that the Nords believe that they're the same god. You see how complicated it can get? It's weird. Elder Scrolls has a weird and complicated story. Let me go ahead and quick save here. I might be able to one-shot him. I could try the trick of putting a bucket over her head, but I I highly doubt this is gonna work. I'm just gonna take the hit. I feel like I don't want to deal with this issue. Not my favorite part
You have committed crimes
about
against
doing
Skyrim.
the Brotherhood questline, so I'll just go ahead and pay it off. I can probably still go and find his body, because I have to,
Disrespect.
I kind of have to put incriminating evidence on his corpse, which is kind of a shame. I did fail a couple of times trying to do this
might
over
consider
at
putting
the,
on
at Windhelm,
something.
so a little embarrassed about that, but it doesn't matter.
eyes
It's not really, again, what I do this series. It's not to portray skill or anything like that, but, just to talk about things with you guys, because that's what I love doing. Scrolls, books, I'm looking for incriminating evidence, which is interesting that people are just kind of cool with that. I feel like they shouldn't. Anyways, let's continue with our topic. So I wanna bring it back to what we were talking about before with Akatosh being kind of very. It's very. I'm not sure what's the word that I'm looking for here. If anything, he's just. Oh no. Oh no.
What do you need?
Am I in trouble? No, they're cool.
Got to keep
We're
my
just looking
eyes
for the
open.
buddy.
Damn dragon.
It's very weird to me how he is portrayed as an elf, as an elvish demigod to the actual elven people, but then he's obviously portrayed as a dragon to literally everyone else, to the point where even Alduin, of course, exclaims that, hey, yeah, I am the son of Akatosh. Like, this is the thing. This is not just... Like, maybe if it was like a person saying that, you know, maybe if it was like an ideology that is shared by a group of people, like a culture, like that would be one thing. But the fact that a dragon who is, you know, evidently immortal for all intents and purposes, a dragon who theoretically has been in there since like close to the beginnings of the actual planet, you know, he's claiming that Akatosh is indeed a dragon. It's interesting. Now we know that the elves, like, yeah, this type of knowledge, it just wouldn't be. Like, I find it also very unlikely that the elves would just, like, misappropriate information, right? Like, there's actually a god in the Aldmeri pantheon who is supposed to be a scribe. That's what he does. In fact, he wasn't just a scribe, but he was the scribe of Auri-El, right? Like, this is the guy who's supposed to document this shit. And he said that Auri-El, yeah, Auri-El is like Akatosh. It's pretty much Akatosh. It's just like an elvish demigod. So, it's very interesting how that works specifically. Right? Because then, in the beginning of time, we have Akatosh taking the side of elves in the whole ordeal against the humans, killing them and killing Lorcan. And then, obviously, you have Akatosh in Oblivion, you know, kind of giving a lot of his power to protect the Empire specifically. Well, to be honest, that's where Daedra came out of, so you know, he wanted to do that. But he did give Alessia the power of the amulet, right? The Amulet of Kings, and like, there's a certain level of favoritism going on when you do that sort of thing. So, it's kind of interesting. Now, we also have Auri-El's weapons, right? We have, I think it was a shield, Auri-El's shield, and we have Auri-El's bow. These are actual artifacts that are supposed to be legit. Like, these are things that appeared in the story. I mean, we know about how Trinimac defeated, Trinimac being the captain of the Aldmeri kind of army at the time, back when, you know, demigods kind of walked around the planet. Before I talk to her, let me finish this thought. Trinimac killed Lorcan, and then he took his heart, Auri-El in this case, he took his heart and shoot it to the Red Mountain with the bow. So the bow existed in the lore.
Ah, at last. I've been anxiously awaiting your return. Yes, I know. As does Astrid. You have done well, and have earned both your reward and a bonus, as I have mentioned. But you should know that we have a more pressing matter to deal with. It's... Cicero. There's been an incident. You should proceed into the sanctuary. I'll let Astrid explain.
Instead, we will do the token of Oleva, and we'll do that quest, and then we'll continue the actual main quest. But, I'm gonna actually, put on a straw poll. Sorry, I'm burpy. In the description of this video, I want to see what's your preferred length of time for these videos, because I'm being told some of these videos are turning to be too long, and I want to see what everyone thinks, just, you know, just to make it a democratic process. But before we even get to that, there is two more topics that I want to cover real quick. I just want to see what you guys think about this, specifically the fact that the Divines, and not just the Divines, but like the Aedras and the Daedras in general, they all feel, and I did this analogy before, where I talked about the world, the universe of the Elder Scrolls being like some kind of brain, right? And then every Aedras, every Daedra just being kind of like a feeling, like a thought. And eventually that thought, that feeling turned into, you know, an actual physical manifestation, right? But it's interesting because every deity in this world kind of encompasses a type of feeling, a virtue, so to speak, right? You have the embodiments of change and the embodiments of stasis, but everyone is like a thing, right? So obviously you have Kinnereth, who is supposed to be, you know, specifically, you know, like water, air, the elements, that sort of thing. You have Divella, who's like kind of sexual beauty, Mara, who is like love and family, you know, Akatosh, who's supposed to be like the invincibility, longevity, you know what I mean, like leadership, that sort of thing. Like everyone has a thing. Even the Daedras, all of them have a thing. It's very interesting that when you think about it, when you think about the fact that what if they all were thoughts? You know, what if the universe is actually an actual brain, right? And everyone is an actual thought, and everyone encompasses an actual feeling of this entity, right? Let's say that this is Anu, the entire universe is Anu, and we're all just parts, little pieces of Anu, right? And obviously the deities, the bigger parts of it, represent those bigger kind of, you know, parts of it. And obviously, everyone believes in happiness. Everyone believes in change. Everyone believes in immortality. Everyone loves those things. But when you talk about Daedras, right? Like, let's think about a specific Daedra. Molag Bal. Molag Bal is domination. You know, everyone believes in domination. They know that it's there. They know that they have it, but they don't necessarily practice it. They don't necessarily cultivate it, right? Which kind of comes into play with the people here, right? The people of Tamriel, for the most part, you know, they believe in Molag Bal. He exists. They know that he exists, but they don't like believe. They don't cultivate that love, right? So it's just interesting, the dichotomy of like the metaphorical kind of view of this universe, what it represents, what this could all very well be. You know, this could all be just Anu, us, instead of Anu as kind of parts of his brain, or you know, it could just be bullshit, everything that I'm talking about. But I just, you know, and I don't necessarily believe that. I just want to talk to you guys about it. I want to see what you guys believe. I want to see what you guys think of that particular topic. Now, this is Isolde. I remember her being there, right? Was it here? One of these two houses. There we go. So, it is, let's just wait until morning. Now, the last topic that I wanted to talk about, sorry that I'm being kind of very quick on this. I'm getting self-conscious that this videos might be too long. Xarwolf5 asked me, great video, Rex, thank you very much, sir. Love the LorePlay. Got a question. Aedras and the Divines, are they the same thing? So this is something that I don't know if I've actually talked about before. And I probably have mentioned it before in passing, just kind of really quick stuff. I'm looking for a lava. Can't seem to find her. Well, she's in the bar or something? Jeez, man. Okay, this is the thing. So, Aedras and the Divines, are they the same thing? It's a little bit complicated. To the Tamrielic people, to non-elves, yes, they are kind of the same thing. To the elves, they are not. And what the fuck? The game was telling me that she was. And this is why. Before I even we're gonna finish with the lava, but before we, that sounded weird. Aedra has an actual translation. Oh, I damn it. Too many interruptions, man. Aedras have a specific translation in the elvish language. Aedras mean our ancestors. Daedra mean not our ancestors. And this is what it comes down to. The elves, see, the humans believe that, okay, yeah, so the Divines came, they created the world, and then they became the planets in the sky, and they're watching us from above, etc., etc., etc. Like the traditional belief that you see in a lot of my videos. The elvish side of things, they believe in something different. The elves believe that when the Divines, the entities, this Aedras created the planet, the world, that they lost all of their power. So they came into the world and reproduced. And from that reproduction came the Elnofey. Now, they believe that the Elnofey are direct descendants of the gods, that they in some way are the gods, just kind of transformed into mortals because they lost their powers creating the world, right? Now, there are two types of Elnofey. There are the old Elnofey, and the new Elnofey. The old Elnofey retained much of their knowledge and power because their world, you know, them as deities, they managed to kind of enter Nirn in kind of a superior way, if that makes any sense. Whereas the new Elnofey, they were thrown into the world almost like meteors falling to the planet, all scattered and crazy, roaming around the planet, thinking, what the fuck just happened? You know what I mean? Now we have to construct cities. Now we have to figure out what to do in this planet, and we have no clue how to do that. Whereas the old Elnofey, they had their cities, they had everything kind of given to them. They retained a lot of their deity kind of like intellect, if that makes any sense. Eventually they found each other and they fought. And they don't really talk about losers or winners. The point is, the old Elnofeys, the guys who retained their knowledge and, were cool or whatever, those are the elves. Those are the guys, like, back in the Merethic times, those are the guys who actually lived in Tamriel. Whereas the new Elnofey, the brutes, the dumbs, the whatever, those were everyone else who wasn't in Tamriel. So Admora, Akavir, Jokuda, etc. Right? So we know that the Nords obviously come from Admora. We know that the Red Guards come from Jokuda, blah blah blah. There's some of the Imperials, come from Akavir, etc., etc., etc. Blah blah blah. Point is, Aedra means our ancestors. So the elves believe that they are direct descendants of the gods, whereas they believe that the Daedras are not their ancestors, in the sense that they are not the direct descendants of those guys. You know what I mean? So the elves don't see Daedras and the Aedras as like good and evil. They simply see it as like, oh yeah, we came from those guys. We do not come from those guys, and that's why you see a lot of the elf like pantheons. They don't care about like whether an entity is a Daedra or an Aedra. They still believe in them, right? Like actually, Hermaios Mora, like the Aldmeri pantheon. I know it's the Bosmer pantheon. They actually believe and venerate Hermaios Mora. Like that's just just like that fucking Olava girl. Like, well, she prays to Sithis, but a random guard might just be like, oh my god, Julianos is awesome. You can go to like fucking Valenwood, and a Bosmer will say, oh yeah, Hermaios Mora, yeah, he's cool. I got a statue of him in my backyard. Like, it's just normal over there because they don't see it as good and evil, whereas the humans do. It's just that the elves are so old and so wise or whatever that to them it's just like, oh yeah, that's my dad lineage. Those are not my dad's lineage. You know what I mean? Like it makes no difference to them. So to answer your question, Xarwolf, really shortly, yeah, there's a big difference between the Aedra and the Divines, but depending on who's saying it. The Divines, it's just it's like everything that is good, as far as like the humans go. Humans believe that everything that's good is Divines, whereas everything that's bad is Daedras. Whereas the elves believe Aedras are the ancestors. Daedras are not our ancestors. So the concept of Divines doesn't really translate very well to the elves. They don't really understand that at all. Which is why, by the way, there's a saying that goes that actually elves are supposed to get offended when a human says Aedras. Like the concept of an Aedra is an elvish thing. So if like I was an elf and she said, oh, I believe in the Aedras, I should be offended. Or she should be offended because I'm kind of nasty here, but yeah, because it's not supposed to be their ancestors, it's our ancestors. But anyways, I have dilly-dallied shenanigans for far too long. Let's finish this up.
Dear, you really ought to put some clothes on. You're embarrassing yourself. Token, you say? Let me see. Oh, goodness me. You're a friend of Gabriella's, then. Well, I guess we both know why you're here. Well, yes, I surely can. It's not something I do lightly, mind you, and it's not as specific as you might want, but yes, I will do this for you. Please, relax. Free your mind. Yes, that's it. There's a cave. No, not a cave. A home. A place you feel secure. You will find safety there. Sanctuary. I see snow, lit by the star of dawn, and you are not alone. There are others. A child of night. A stalker of the sands. Oh, but before you are family, there will be blood. Such blood. Wait, there's something else. A potential for adventure and wealth. It is a ruin, ripe for the plunder. Deepwood Redoubt, far to the northwest. Through there is Hag's End, the last resting place of an assassin of old. A dark brother who bequeaths his ancient earthly possessions to you. No, that is all. Now, please. I find myself very weary all of a sudden.
There you go, boys. So, of course, the first part is the ominous future, what's going to happen to the Brotherhood. It's going to be a lot of blood, things are going to go down, and obviously Babeth, the vampire in the night, and Nazir, was it? The Stalker of the Sands. They're both going to survive, and we're going to go into the Star of Dawn, which is Dawn Star, in the cave over there, and blah, 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 blah. You know the story. She, however, gives you a quest, which is why I wanted to do the whole... Wanted to pay those thousands of dollars just to kill that dude, just to get that quest, because we're gonna get some ancient stuff, which is not good for me, but good for prosperity, for it to be in this video so that everyone can see. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will attempt to, or if I remember, I'll put that straw poll in the description below, so please click the description, vote how long you want this videos to be. Keep in mind, not everyone has the time to watch 40, 50 hour-long videos, and also, I don't have the time to be making them that long. They take a toll, man. But also, you know, if they're too short, then I might not be able to kind of give whatever I want to say what I want to say, and obviously progression becomes a little bit tougher. But anyways, I hope you all had a fun time, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye, bros.